Only 22% of large government agencies implement AI policies, highlighting the urgent need for robust AI governance. To explain more, we have Ravikant Sharma from IDC Asia-Pacific. So Ravi, what's stopping government agencies from implementing solid AI rules?
Well, that's a great question. As we all are aware, the effective governance is a key to build trust with any emerging technologies from Asia-Pacific government agencies. But before I get into the specifics of this question, let me give you some very interesting IDC data points. What we have seen through our survey, while 86% of these agencies do recognize the value of AI regulation, only 22% of them have implemented these policies across the organization. And 47% of these agencies have shared these policies only with the key stakeholders. Additionally, many of these agencies lack the published guidelines from using proprietary data. Suppose if you are using some public generative AI models. Let me give you some other interesting IDC data points too. So as per our analysis, 50% of these agencies only provide informal guidance, and 20% of these agencies lack the enforcement mechanism itself. So you must be wondering why I'm sharing so much of a statistics, because if you see all these statistics which I shared, this clearly indicate that there is definitely AI governance gap. And if I amalgamate with other major deterrents, such as there is a skill gap issues in the Asia-Pacific region, there are security concerns because these agencies are sitting on tons of citizen data, and then you have ethical considerations and all. So if I amalgamate everything, these are the major considerations and criteria because of which Asia-Pacific government agencies are not able to come out with a very comprehensive AI regulation.
What are the risks of not having clear AI guidelines?
A very relevant question, I would say. Now, in my view, a coordinated approach such as establishing the AI body or a committee to establish is very essential for a very effective AI governance. But before I get into what are the risks and harms, let me give you some other very interesting IDC insights. While we realize that though government agencies do recognize the value of such mechanism, only 1/3 of them, these agencies have put in or established some committee or a board. And within that also, maximum of 50% have a single sort of executive, such as chief AI officer, who is leading the proper oversight. Now, your question is, what is the risk and harm? Well, risks and harms are multifold. And topmost and foremost is, in absence of this mechanism, it becomes very difficult for these agencies to justify the direction and then justify the investments, unified direction as well as the investment. And then this quite often I have seen this leads to overly restrictive measures. A lot of time governments only put money in the low value but safer kind of a projects. And also a lot of time I have seen government might outrightly ban the technology itself. Now, amongst all these risk and harm, I will say if governments are banning the technology itself just for sake of not having AI policy, this is the most horrendous outcome, because the government role in the region is to balance the regulation as well as innovation. And if you are banning the technology itself, this will impede the further innovation. So these are all some of the risks and harm I see. If you are not having proper oversight as well as if you are not having clear AI policy.
How can governments keep pace with AI advancements while making policy?
A very timely question, I would say. See, in my view, the development of emerging technology is quite often outpaces the development of policy itself. Now, the chart which you are putting into the screen now, this I have taken from one of the events which I attended in Singapore a few months back. This chart clearly highlights the discrepancy. What it says is the rate of change of technology is far, far, far higher than the rate of policy development itself. Now, the question comes, what should government do? Government cannot keep on waiting for this policy to develop. Government cannot have policy first approach and then waiting for this policy to develop and then do some implementation of AI. So what governments are doing, they are doing some very innovative ways to develop the policy in a real time. So what they are doing is they are doing some, in a trial, a regular trial in a ring fence environment. They are doing these trials with a very, very secure environment with very specific functions, such as doing it with the revenue agency. They are doing this with tax agencies, and they're learning from mistakes and amalgamating these learnings from the real AI regulation and development. This I have seen in a lot of these country markets. Case in example, Singapore government is doing it, Australia, South Korea, and India. These countries are a brilliant example that how they are addressing generative AI usage, as well as while developing the policy in a real time for a public sector. So yeah, these are all the ways I would think that these governments are approaching towards it within whatever constraint I spoke since beginning.
Thank you again for joining us, Ravi.
Thank you.
That was Ravikant Sharma, Research Director for Government Insights at IDC Asia-Pacific. For more news, please visit govmedia.com.